everyone, and welcome to another edition of PodJerky. I am your host, Tom, and on today's episode, we are joined by the host of Crazy Fitness Guy, Jimmy. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
So why don't you tell everybody a little bit about your show, what it's about, what you like to speak about on your show?
Well, it's a monthly podcast, and I speak about autism, fitness, nutrition, lifestyle, motivation, self-care, self-help, pretty much everything healthy living. I could have probably just went with that, but oh well.
And what's your favorite topic to talk about? Are you more into talking about autism, or are you more into talking about just the healthy lifestyle?
Pretty much a mix of both. I'm actually doing a special episode this Monday coming up with one of my friends who's also autistic, and we're talking about the new movie Music that I do not like at all. Never seen it, but I read a lot of bad stuff about it.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, they shine a negative light on autism. They said in the movie, and they have scenes that use physical restraint against people who have autism when they have meltdowns, and they say that it can get them to settle down and everything. And for people who don't know what restraint is, it's where they physically either hold you down, or they hold your arms around your, body or waist. And I actually, my mom told me that recently, and I kind of forgot this a little bit until she brought it up, where then it kind of triggered some images in the back of my mind. I guess I didn't get my memory right or anything, but I kind of blacked out when all the negative stuff years ago. But I was also restrained when I was younger. It does not calm you down. It really hurt too. I'm surprised my parents didn't sue the school. I would have if I was my son's parents. Maybe I'm just that kind of person. I don't know. Hot-headed a little bit.
You know, I agree with that, because I believe that it only agitates the person more. And for those of you that don't know, I actually work with special needs kids. I work with kids that are on the spectrum, and we are taught restraint in our courses to how to restrain somebody. But the restraint isn't used as a restraint for calming a student down. Restraint is used as a last resort, and a restraint is used if the student that we are with is endangering themselves or endangering somebody else. And that's the only reason that we should ever have to do it. And I would do that with somebody that's on the spectrum or somebody that's not on the spectrum. If they're going to injure somebody, you have to look out for everybody's safety. And that's what we're taught, is that's the only time we have to do it. I personally do not like to do any kind of restraint. I like to usually talk and try to calm them down and try to decompress what they're going through, and then work backwards from there. So I agree with what you're saying, that the restraint shouldn't be used.
And they also show that, and in the movie, they had the person who was playing the autistic character. She was also not autistic, which I could let go, because I've seen some actors who played someone on the autistic spectrum, and that doesn't get me that upset. I can see where it can get someone upset, but where I see upset was the restraint part. And again, I didn't see the movie. I read a ton about this movie. I read multiple different articles, some from just from all the news websites and etc. And I also didn't like the fact that the director, she even called someone out on social media, also from the autism community. Is like, well, maybe you're just a bad actor, and just kind of went back at him. And I was like, really? And it's like, You know, in my opinion, I kind of this might sound offensive to them, but I hope she doesn't get another job of making another movie, because it's like, okay, you know what? I hope nobody sees your movie now. And it's like, I think the Hollywood Foreign Press is smoking weed or something, because I don't know how that movie got 2 nominations, and they put in the category of music/comedy.
Oh,
Where's the
wow.
comedy?
Right. Yeah, exactly. Now, for those that don't know, you are diagnosed as on the spectrum, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And do you have any limitations? Do people see that you have limitations? I know you're trying to break that stigma of having limitations if you're on the spectrum. How do you tell people that you don't have limitations? I know when you're on the spectrum, you do learn differently. It's just a different process. But how do you go about changing those stigmas that are around autism?
Well, sometimes you have to, I like to say, sometimes I would say I had to tell them, but then I also feel like you also have to show them. And uh, like for me, I've had, when I was diagnosed, and then even when I saw somebody, I didn't remember what she did. I just remember her office. It was, you know, I don't know. Have you ever seen the shows The Sopranos?
Yes.
Well, you know when Tony Soprano's sitting in that person's shrink's office, and it just had like a brown kind of background and everything just like looked normal and everything.
Yeah.
Well, and dull and boring. Well, I remember that part of being in the office. But I don't remember anything really else what she said, but she basically talked pretty much at me, and then to my parents like I was not even there.
Yeah.
And she gave me a long list of stuff that I was never going to be able to do. And I was like, I came over every single hurdle, and I would love to meet that doctor again.
And that's fantastic, because I always tell my students, like right now I work with a student that is nonverbal, so it's very hard to communicate with, but there's always limitations put on students that are on the spectrum, and you have to keep up with that mentality of you can do anything that you want to do. And a lot of these kids do not get that opportunity. But like yourself, you have gone out and you've started your own podcast, and it's become very popular, and you've had some fantastic achievements happen. And you just shared one with me the other day, which I thought was so fantastic. If you want to let everybody know what happened.
Yeah, I got featured in the Times Square in New York City. Some company was running a campaign, and before during this annoying pandemic for people who can't be together and just give shout outs. So my one friend who's in another podcast community with me, she told me about it and say you should go send your message. And I was like, you think that they would put it on there? It's like it's worth a shot. And so I did it, and this company replied back to me and say, we'll put it we'll put it in Times Square, and we'll send you the link to it. They sent me the link on Thursday, and I was like, holy crap, that's Times Square.
Yeah, that is amazing. Like that is an amazing achievement, and I hope you share it with everybody in the podcast community, because that's just something to be very, very proud of, especially seeing that doctors have given you limitations on what you can do, and look where you are now.
Yeah, and what's funny, one of my friends said to me, "It's like, did you pay for that slot?" And it's like, boy, I'm so glad you think I had that much money. I don't.
Yeah, I can imagine it would probably cost a pretty penny to get your ad on a New York Times Square billboard.
Yeah, what's really funny, I took one of my college semesters. We had to. I was in this class full that basically focused on the media and marketing, and I kind of know kind of like pretty much the ballpark of where it runs at for some of those things, and it is a really big, pretty penny.
Yeah, I can only imagine. I can only imagine. So, talking about your podcast and your show, if you're doing a healthy living, healthy lifestyle, are you talking about a lot of like weight training? Are you talking about diets? Are you talking about stuff like that?
I would mostly say I've gotten people who are personal trainers on the show, doctors, and they talk about, like, I had a doctor who talked about uh, the obesity crisis and weight loss tips and tricks. It's basically, I try to look at it as like a motivational podcast to get people to start a healthy living lifestyle. And so it's not really geared towards one thing. It just includes a lot of different things, not just focus on weight training or weight loss, because you can only do so much. And I feel like I've had some people like who told, like around my family, my friends, and it's like, well, how do you even start working out? And it's like, isn't it hard? And it's like, yeah, it's always hard starting. It's like me starting a new blog post every week. Uh, it's daunting at first, but once I'm writing, I'm like, why did I get the? What? Why is this so? Why was this difficult? Not really. Just
Yeah,
me.
it's always hard to start. And you probably realize that too with the podcast. Did you find that hard to start?
Actually, that one was pretty easy. I just needed to have the right tools, and I didn't have the right tools uh, when I had the idea a few years ago. And when got my first guest appearance on another podcast, well, I wouldn't say my first, but my one of my first. I think it was like my second or third, maybe. I don't know. But some I saw this person using Anchor, and I was like, now I have to go make a podcast now because this tool's been handed to me on a silver platter right in front of me. And I was like, okay, now I'm gonna start it for Crazy Fitness Guy's third birthday, which I did, and it's almost in its first year coming up, and my website's almost 4 years old, on the same exact day.
Very nice. And what's your goal with this podcast? What do you hope to achieve with this? Are you hoping to just more or less bring in the numbers, or is it more about reaching maybe just that one person that helps them change their lifestyle?
I would say a mix of both. I want to reach reach those numbers. I also want to help people out, but I also want to be a motivational speaker, speaking around the world. I've My podcast has been, I think it's like in 4 different countries to listen to at the moment. One of them is Japan, which I'm kind of shocked at. Not saying that no one listens in Japan. I didn't. It's just kind of amazing. It's like, hell, I thought no one would probably listen to it. Who would like
Yeah,
to listen to my voice?
yeah. When you go and you look at your stats and you see the countries that your podcast is being played in, you look at it and you go, how are we reaching over there? That's just incredible. So it's a good feeling. So I understand what you're saying.
Yeah. And it's like, who wants to listen to my voice? And every time when I listen to my own voice, it's like, this sounds like nails on a chalkboard.
Yeah, definitely. So you are able to get guests onto your show. How do you go about doing that?
I'm in many different podcast communities. Well, I'm in yours. I'm also in another one that keeps growing by the pretty much. I think it's like they grow like 100 a day. It seems like because every time when I go into the group, it's like I kid you not. Like the other day, it was like 13,000. Now it's like up to 14,000. I was like, holy moly! I was like, I don't think I'm gonna ever run out of content.
No, never. No, the podcast groups, there's a lot of people in those groups. So yeah, keep pushing out the content. But you just did mention something that you are part of one of our groups, and it's called PodVcom. And we are running our third convention, our third virtual convention. And this is the second one that you're going to be part of. So we're very excited about that. Why don't you talk a little bit about what you did in the first one?
Well, the first one I was talking about, just pretty much all the limitations that people set on me and kind of told me a lot of things that I wouldn't be able to do. And the diagnosis I've been with a big head, and they said that that was wrong. And and I was like, well, thanks, doctor. I really appreciate all those lovely comments that you guys make. Uh, and some people didn't like. Some It's funny, like sometimes the people I meet sometimes don't like, or when I was growing up, people didn't like how blunt I can be with some things. And it's like kind of feel like some doctors who just bluntly stated some of these things to my parents. And I'm like, gee, if I had a kid who's autistic and they bluntly said that to me, I don't know what I would say to that. I might have to just say, thanks, doc. I really appreciate it. Nice to have a filter here. A lot of people told me I needed to learn to have a filter. I wonder if they need to take their own bit of their own advice a little bit. And so I talked about that, and I have a special part 2 coming up, and it's not going to be anything like I said before. It's going to be new. I can't give a sneak peek. It's still working on it.
Yeah, and that is coming up in less than 3 weeks, actually. We start on March the 12th. Today is February the 20th when we are doing this recording. We start March the 12th, the Friday night, and we're going to be doing the convention right throughout the weekend. And then the following weekend as well, from March 19th to the 21st, we're going to be running that convention, and you are part of it. And we couldn't be happier than having you on as one of our podcasts that are on there. It's been fun. It's been fantastic. We've enjoyed the whole time. We do have a date booked for our next one. I'm not giving that out yet until we are finished with this one. So once that's done, then everyone will know when the next one is coming up as well. So they're a lot of fun. How do you find them?
I find it a lot of fun. I might have to join for the part 3. People might just get bored of me, but
no, definitely. We want you signing up for the third one. Everybody loves you. Trust me. We have all the comments that come on there, and they're all, way to go, Jimmy. And, is Jimmy going to be on this time? So, people look forward to watching you and seeing you on there.
I definitely have fun with it. Today is actually my 52nd podcast guest appearance. This morning was my 51st. I just have so many. I was like, I'm just on a roll. I'm trying. One of my friends told me, is like, oh, I think you're gonna get number 100 by the end of the year. And I was like, you do realize we're still in the February here.
That's right. Yeah.
Like, you're thinking about the end of the year?
You're doing it right, because when you want to grow your numbers, you want to get on as many shows as you can. And that way it helps spread the word, because all of their listeners are going to get a chance to listen to you. And then they will potentially tune into your show as well. So you're doing the right thing by going on all these shows. And you know what? People want to hear your story.
Well, my parents what's funny, my mom actually brought up the other day. She's like, do you feel like that it's like, aren't you afraid that you're gonna be stale after a while, that you're just gonna be bored of saying the same things over and over again? And I was like, I don't think I say the same things over and over again. I was like, I always say something different, some kind of the story different.
Well, there's always something new to talk about. All you have to do is turn on the news one day and there's some 5 other things to talk about, right?
Yeah, literally.
Yeah. So it's actually been a fun ride with this whole convention thing. We hope you continue to join the convention with whatever dates that we put out there. We love having you on as one of our shows.
Yeah, definitely will keep doing it. I love being part of the group. I said to my parents that it's amazing how many people keep joining, and I keep seeing the numbers grow. And I just never thought. I was hesitant to start a podcast just because I don't like the sound of my own voice.
Nobody does.
Unless it was Hollywood actors. They like have the most magical voices in the world. Morgan Freeman.
Yes. But you know what? He probably talks into the microphone and says, I don't like my voice either, but the rest of the world does. So you never know. I don't think that I have a radio voice, but I've been told over and over and over again that, you have a good radio voice, that it's like a deeper voice. And then, you could actually be on the radio. And I don't feel that way at all. I don't like my voice either. So I know what you're feeling.
Well, I think you have a good voice. You could be my voiceover on my podcast.
Anytime you want. If I have to do a promo for you, I'm all in. I can do that for you. So is there anything that you want to tell everybody about your show that will make them want to come to?
Yeah, it's basically how I like to keep my show is strictly conversational. It's unedited. I mean, it's an edited version. I have two versions of it. There's an unedited version, and there's an unedited version, and you get, and basically for the unedited version, you get to hear all the bloopers, mistakes, the stuff that I missed cutting stuff out, and basically you get an ad free. You get you just and plus what I also like to say about my show is everything is unscripted. I might make a mistake here and there. It, I might I might not be able to think of a quick sentence right away, which sometimes happens.
Hey, we're all human, buddy. We all make mistakes. It's all good.
But it's like I didn't want. I plan a lot for my blog posts. Like I do so much. I do research for my blog posts. I couldn't do if I was going to do a podcast. I mean, I do a podcast, but when I was first starting, it's like if I'm going to do this, I'm going to have to do it unscripted because I can't go by a script. Who wants to read off a script?
I agree.
And my parents like, but you have to be prepared. And it's like, I'm prepared enough. And it's like, I ask questions. I talk to people like a regular human being. And it's like, I don't think I would got 1,500 plays if it was all scripted. I was like, I don't think I would even listen to it if it was all scripted.
So in the genres of podcasting, some of them have to be scripted. There are some like storytelling. There's some book reviews. So some of them have to be scripted. Even movie reviews have to be scripted because you're taking lines and you're taking this. But I also enjoy a good back and forth. That's just a natural conversation between two people that talk about their daily lives or different things that are going on in the world and their opinions where they're not scripted out. So I agree with that as well.
Yeah, and I definitely understand that some things needs to be scripted and whatnot, but like what you just said. But just for me, I can't just I can't do so much. I'm not a lazy person, but between school, karate, book clubs, and whatnot, and podcasting and everything else, and maintaining a website, it gets to you.
It's a busy life. It's a busy life.
And it's like it's not all funny games. I would love it to be funny games, but
yeah, for sure. So why don't you tell everyone where they can find you on social media, where they can find your podcast?
You can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and LinkedIn. So on Facebook, you can follow me Jimmy.Clare.Speaker, and Twitter, you can follow me at Jimmy Clare Speak. Instagram is Jimmy.Clare.Speaker, and I think LinkedIn is Jimmy Clare, I believe. I forget the URL of.
Well, we'll definitely put all of your links in the show notes for everybody to go to. And for everybody that is listening today, go and check out Jimmy's show. Also, try to book Jimmy on the show so we can get him to 100 shows before the end of the year. I know you'll be able to do it, no problem. You probably don't need my help doing that, but I'm going to try and get you on some other shows as well. Let's get you up to 100 as quickly as we can and spread the news about your show. I think people should tune in and I think people should listen to it because it's an interesting show. Is there anything any last words that you want to say?
Oh, and yeah, I got one more. If you guys want to follow Crazy Fitness Guy and still just go to crazyfitnessguy.com. There's a lot of places where Crazy Fitness Guy is. Just type it in Google. I'm all over the place. Jeez Louise. I think in total I won like 25 different social media accounts. One too many.
Yeah, it's hard keeping up with all the social media accounts. It's very, very difficult. But like I said, everybody go and check out Jimmy's show. I'm going to post all of the links in our show notes for you to go to. It's always a good time talking with Jimmy. Again, he is going to be on the virtual convention that we are running in March. He is on, do you remember what day you're on and what time? I don't have the schedule in front of me right now.
I think it was on the Saturday. I think it was the first Saturday, I believe.
So it'd be the 13th. Yeah, it should be the 13th.
Yeah.
But I'll post that time on the show notes as well for people to go and check out.
Put at like 5 p.m. I think it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then people will be able to find you and people will be able to listen to your show. It's always great talking to you. And again, if you want to come back on the show anytime in the future, more than welcome. We'll get you on some other shows as well. We'll probably try to help you promote it in our group to try and get you on as a guest onto other shows. I'm sure people would love to have you hear the stories and just have a general conversation with you.
I look forward to it.
Definitely. All right, everybody. Make sure you check out the show notes. Make sure you check out PodJerky on Instagram and Twitter. You can also find us on Facebook for PodJerky. You can find us on Apple, Spotify, Google Podcasts, iHeart, Amazon Music, and Audible. As always, stay safe, be kind to each other, and we will see you later.